Stay tuned for an important announcement on today's edition of Fullerton Unfiltered.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging out with you guys first thing Monday morning. So welcome to the start of another fun week in business for yourself. And also welcome to the jungle for, getting your season rocking and rolling. Hopefully some of you guys are just getting out there with, spring cleanups, maybe even doing some mowing. You guys are making me jealous for sure for all my southern folks down, from Atlanta south all the way down to Florida. You guys have it going on with already getting your season going and getting back to those regular weekly cuts. Well, here's what I want to do for today's show. I want to do as much value add that I can do to you guys in a half hour or less. I know on the last episode, I said it'd be a half hour, turned it into an hour. That's my, hey, we're going to wind this thing down. And I got my Joel Osteen on. And for any of you guys that have ever been to church on Sunday, when the pastor says, just one more point, or we're going to keep this short. I think Paul Jameson was giving me some crap about this once. That just is code and translation for, we're going to be here for a little while. So today, I really do sincerely hope to keep this short. And what I want to do is talk to you guys about commercial contracts, commercial lawn and landscape, and just give the lay of the land. This time of year, a lot of guys getting in business, a lot of guys their first, second, third year in business. We're trying to grow our company, and a lot of folks, I feel like they're that little monkey in Aladdin. What is it, Abu? And they're just looking at the big red gem, the ruby, which is commercial work. And I want to, while we go through this conversation, of course, help you with bidding commercial sites, but also work some tips and some ideas in there about, what to do with a commercial site so it is profitable, because not all commercial work is actually the best work to get. And I know that might sound counterintuitive because we all look like Abu with the big red ruby, thinking that the secret sauce is the profit is in the commercial work. And that's just entirely not true. It can be true if you do it right, which we're going to show you some better ways to do it right. Not that we have it all figured out, but we've learned some things along the way after being in business for 15 years. But I don't want you guys to just think commercials where it's at, because, quite honestly, the national average from the NALP commercial contract work per man-hour rate is about $45 per man-hour. And you guys hear Paul Jameson talk a lot about that on his show, is the per man-hour rate. And a lot of folks should be out there at $55 to $65 plus per man-hour. And so here's what I want to do. I want to help us get those rates with our commercial work and help you guys make sure that work is extremely profitable. We have a half dozen commercial sites that we manage year over year over year. We've had some great relationships. We've had some great success. And so here's what I want to do. In 30 minutes or less, try to help you guys out with as much content as I can on trying to get commercial work, and then also some tips, some secrets, and some advice I can give you that will bake along the way. All right, guys, without further ado, let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, to give you guys some of the show updates, announcements, and by the way, a sweet promotion that we're going to be kicking off right now.
All right, guys, I was sworn to secrecy on this all weekend long. I wanted to post on Instagram. I wanted to call a few of you that I know personally and tell you the news. You could say I was buzzing, pumped, elated, just feeling like a kid on Christmas morning. And in fact, the thought of Christmas sort of gave me an idea, so I jumped into the production studio and put together a little announcement for you. Hey, it's Marty, and apparently spring is the new Christmas. This might be the most wonderful time of the year, as Launchpreneur Academy is giving you a deal that's the biggest and baddest we've ever done. For a limited time, when you buy the whole ball of wax, you get access to all 38 of our training resources, a $2,500 value, and yes, it includes all postcard and door hanger designs, plus 2 one-on-one coaching calls with Brian Fullerton. One for the spring, you could use the other in the fall or the winter. The whole ball of wax blowout deal doesn't end there. We have teamed up with Caleb and Brittany Allman and the Hardscape Academy to give you access to their How to Install Pavers and How to Install Retaining Walls training courses. Supercharge your business and financial future with all the contracts, training courses, the live event replays, 2 coaching calls, the Hardscape Academy bonus, and lifetime access to future updates and training programs on LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. With the add-ons, this is now a $3,000 package, but yours for only $999. At less than $1,000, I think this might just be the best value that our industry has ever seen. It is a limited time offer, and it will expire soon, so get it now at launchpreneuracademy.com or use the link in the show notes.
All right, guys, so let's jump right back into it and just hit the ground running. Let's catch our stride and let's bring you guys as much info as we can in 30 minutes or less. That's the goal for this podcast. All right, so what I want to do, part one of the first half of this, I want to talk about going through an actual contract. So I've got one of my commercial contracts sitting in front of me right now. As you guys are listening to this episode, is the best time of year to submit your contracts. Typically early spring, February, March, to those decision makers at the HOAs, at the offices, at the commercial buildings that we all talk to and work with. So the first thing I want to do is talk about my contract, how it's broken down. The second thing I want to do is talk a little bit more about some mindset, some tips, some suggestions at the end. So make sure you guys listen all the way through because a lot of the meat's going to be baked into here, but also at the end with some of these tips that could save you and make you a lot of money. So if you guys don't know, we have the commercial contract and template available at launchpreneuracademy.com. It is a $25 plug and play commercial contract. It's my actual contract after taking 10 to 15 years in the business. Take a little bit from this contract, a little bit from this contract, some things that I've learned along the way. Hey man, people aren't paying this thing on time. Adding some late fees, adding some legalese. So we've got this pretty neat plug and play contract that honestly should be able to be used from Australia to the US to Canada and anywhere in between. So if you guys don't have a good commercial contract, go to launchpreneuracademy.com, download this thing. It's $25. You get lifetime access, lifetime updates, and you can secure $10, $20, $50, $100,000 contracts all day long with this thing and use it for literally ever. So it's $25. It should be $2,500. You know what I mean? We've actually had over 1,000 people download that contract over the last 12 months. Basically, we launched at this same time last year. And so I would imagine that this contract has probably secured 7 figures plus for the lawn and landscape industry. So I feel like I'm doing my part to elevate the industry, which is what Launchpreneur Academy is all about. So here's what I want to do. If you guys go through this contract, and maybe you guys are listening on the mowers, obviously with working, no sweat. Just keep some of this in the back of your mind. Maybe you can reference this later when you get home and you have a contract in front of you. But as we go through the contract, really simply, we have all the info up top for the contact, the client, the phone, email, address. Again, this is a plug and play resource. So add your company's address up top, add your logo up top. And then you're going to have to modify a little bit of the stuff through here as we go. But everything that you need to modify is in red. So it's extremely straightforward. Okay. As we go through here, we have it broke down A through I. So there's subcategories. A is seasonal lawn maintenance. B is weeding and landscaping, bed maintenance. C is mulch installation. D is spring cleanup. E is fall cleanup. F is annual shrub pruning, or you can also add flower installation. So if you guys do perennials or whatnot, you can always add those. Annuals. G is fertilizer services. H is irrigation startup. I is irrigation winterization. So funny story, like I said, these are the 7, 8, 9 different categories that we have for services we offer in a typical year. Now, maybe you bid a property, a couple little nuggets here. Maybe you bid a property and they already have a shrub pruning guy. Maybe they have a gardener that comes in. Maybe they have a horticulturalist that comes in. Maybe you're bidding a commercial site or a commercial site or an HOA, and they don't offer or they don't need fertilizer. Take that line out. Maybe they already have a fertilizer service. They have a national guy that sprays, and so you can take that line item out. One was really funny. I was doing a coaching call with a gentleman named Orlando down in Florida, and he actually lives in Orlando. Really good conversation. We were going through a whole commercial site. We were bidding it together, doing a little satellite walkthrough, and it was actually a really fun, 45-minute breakdown. And then we got into some other Q&A. But it was funny. We were going through the commercial contract, just like I'm doing with you guys. And he goes, what is sprinkler irrigation winterization? He's a new guy in business, first year, and bidding on a really large commercial site. And I said, well, that's when we blow out the sprinkler lines. And it was just kind of funny because, big audience here, and you guys are all over the country. And down south, maybe you guys don't blow out your irrigation lines. And I go, well, that's just when, you blow out the irrigation lines so they don't freeze up. And he goes, yeah. And he's got this, Florida, African accent. So it was really thick. And he goes, I don't think we do that here. And I go, I don't think you do that down there either, brother. So we were laughing. So again, all these different services, A through I, your list of subcategories might be A through F, or you might add 1 or 2 extra things in there, right? So maybe instead of mulch installation, you guys are doing pine straw installation, right? So take this template, plug and play it a little bit. You might have to modify some things, of course, but this sure beats, figuring out your own contract for 10 plus hours and, scouring the internet for free, templates, which, were built back in 1999, on the Gopher website or lawn site, right? A little throwback there for some of you guys that have been around on the internet for a little while, right? So you might not have irrigation, winterization down south. That's fine. So let's go through this. So for seasonal lawn maintenance, we have the brackets here. A typical season up here for us is about 27 weeks. We have the at what we charge per cut, and then we take that and we add it all up for the annual lawn maintenance. So for example, I have a contract in front of me for a commercial site. We have a $65 weekly cut. It's a small property. The weekly mowing for the year is $17.55. Let's go to category B, weed, landscape beds, boulevards, and islands, right? This is just bed maintenance, pulling weeds. We do that with all of our commercial sites. They want it looking great, right? So for us, we bill out anywhere from $45 to $75 per man hour for pulling weeds. I don't know if that's high. I don't know if it's low. I actually know it's a little high. But you know what? I hate pulling weeds. Pulling weeds suck. But you know what? It's a great revenue source. And so if you're going to get me on the property or my foreman at this point, and they're a premium and I'm a premium, you're going to be paying a premium to have me pull weeds. And so what we do for our contract is we do minimum 1 hour per month on all of our commercial sites to pull weeds. And what we do is we pull weeds for 6 months. So $75 times 6 months is $450. Now, for different commercial sites that you guys have, you might have, a 2 hour per month minimum. You might have a 4 hour per month minimum, right? So just break it down with another little line under that subcategory and ask your customers, what are they looking for weed pulling and bed maintenance, right? So maybe you have a commercial site that you do a 2 hour minimum bi-weekly. So 4 hours per month at $75 or $45. And that's $180 per month. Times it by 6 months, times it by 10 months, whatever your season is. Add that to subcategory B. And we'll keep going through this. As you have mulch installation, mulch or pine straw installation, for a majority of our commercial sites, we remulch and we add mulch every year. So what we are at right now is $110 per yard installed. That is the cost of the mulch and the labor plus our markup. We're at $110. We used to be at $100 per yard installed. I know some guys do $80. I know some guys do $125 per yard install. I know some guys, when they install 10 yards or more, they price break it down, let's say from 110 to, 95. God bless you. You can do whatever you want in your business. That's the exciting part about being self-employed. In ours, it says deliver 2 inches of fresh brown or black mulch. We do not install red mulch. I don't install red mulch ever, anywhere. It's the worst stuff ever. It just gets everywhere. The dye, it's crazy. Maybe you guys do. That's awesome. But for us, we put black or brown. If somebody wants red, we don't do it. I'm not doing it. Find somebody else. Or I'll refer you to somebody else. And probably not, because none of my friends do red either. So we put 2 inches of black or brown mulch, freshly installed landscape around the beds, islands, and boulevards. And then a couple quick tips in here. You can always add, bed prep extra, and then you could, add that in there for, $225, $100, $500, whatever it needs. And then also another little line item in there you could do is bed redefining or bed edging. So usually $1 per foot, $1.50 per foot. You can, re-edge a bed. It might take 2-3 hours for, $200, and that's fine. Maybe you got to get those edges looking crispy again. Whether you use a spade, flat shovel, or you use a bed redefiner tool like a steel combi, that's, totally up to you. But add that in there. Don't, just say, yeah, we'll refresh the beds and we'll just, get the whole line there. Well, if you got some dude on a flat shovel or a spade, there for, 2 hours or an hour, somebody's going to pay for that. Somebody's got to pay for that bed prep. So let's keep going. Spring and fall cleanup, those are pretty straightforward. Leaves, trash, trash is huge in the spring. Don't undercut picking up trash. Could take two hours, could take an hour, could take a half hour just to pick up trash. And so make sure somebody is paying for that. By the way, I've seen people include as a subcategory trash pickup. Maybe you got a gas station or a fast food place, at a really busy intersection off a highway. pretty typical. You could be there for a half hour picking up trash every week before you mow or after you mow. So add that in there, $45 per hour or, $45 trash pickup fee. Add those fees in there because someone's got to be paying for your time. And I don't want to nickel and dime them, but at the same time, I can't let my business get nickeled and dime, right? We always talk about death for 1,000 paper cuts. It's not the big things that take you out. It's the little things that eat away at your profit. Spring cleanups are usually less for us than the fall cleanup, obviously. Every site is dependent. So if you do a spring cleanup for $275, maybe you'll do a fall cleanup for $350, $375, maybe a 20, 30% premium. It just depends on the site conditions, right? And some of you guys have huge commercial sites, huge commercial parks. There's 500 trees, and a fall cleanup could be $1,500, $2,000, $5,000. Awesome. Just bill that accordingly and make sure that you have that in there as a line item. All right, let's keep it going. Here's one that we always add in there is flower installation or annual flower installation. So we always add that into the sites that have flowers. Not all of our sites have flowers. This contract, for instance, doesn't, but my HOAs do. So a lot of our HOAs have flowers up front, and you can install a flat of flowers, whatever you're at, $20, $25, $30 per flat installed. And, so we always do, I think 10 to 12 flats for, I think like $350. It's not crazy. We have $100 in cost, not even, I think, into that. We make $200, takes 3 hours. It's a little foo-foo job that Liz and I love to do on Saturday is plant flowers. Usually we have those in by, I think it's Memorial Day, right? Or the end of May. I think Memorial Day is in the spring, right? Labor Day is in the fall. All right, another line item is annual shrub pruning. This is something to consider adding to your commercial contracts, whether you use ours or you guys are making one up on your own. Annual shrub pruning, or maybe you prune shrubs twice a year, right? Maybe you're in Florida and you got to prune them quarterly. I don't know the southern, market as well. But I would imagine with the monsoon rains, the crazy heat, I would imagine some things don't grow super crazy because they're, used to that weather. But I will imagine that there's a bunch of shrubs and different plants down there that can grow a foot in a month with the right conditions in, the spring or, in May or again in July, right? We have arrowwood viburnum. They're these, what I guess bow and arrows used to be made out of, supposedly, and really thick, stemmy, kind of a plant. And those things can literally shoot up 12 inches in July. Every July, they just shoot up like crazy. And so we got to knock those down sometime midsummer to, late fall, just to get them kind of reshaped. And so we always have an annual shrub pruning. Trees are different, by the way. For our contract, we don't do trees. We'll do thinning out of some of the, Bradford pear type trees. And we'll shape, just some of the smaller trees. But when you get to the bigger stuff, we have tree guys that we refer to like huge arborvitae shaping. I don't do a lot of that. Maybe you do. So just, keep that in there. If you prune shrubs and you're going to price it out for the trees, make sure you charge appropriately for the trees. Ours says, includes pruning and cutbacks of plants and shrubs on the entire property to a healthy size and shape. And it says EXCL excludes trees. So if they want a quote for trees, you got these, 30-foot tall, evergreens or pines or, oak trees or whatever. Prune, charge appropriately for those or don't do the work and just let them know, hey, hire a national guy, hire a local guy, and let them do it. Let's keep going. So annual shrub pruning, flower install, those are other line items. And then as we go through to wrap it up, fertilizer services and irrigation. So fertilizer, make sure you're licensed, do it correctly. Don't just be throwing down chemicals. That's a big no-no. We don't promote that on our show by any means. So we haven't done fertilizer or pesticide for forever. I haven't renewed my license since I worked at True Green. 12, 13 years ago. So a couple options here. Maybe you're a commercial contractor and, you're bidding a bank, you're bidding a tire shop, you're bidding a commercial building, and they say, yeah, we want the fertilizer, the pesticide, the weed control, all that mess. Well, like I was telling Orlando, he's a new guy in business. He doesn't do any of that. I said, well, two options. Find a local guy that can subcontract, but find a guy who does fertilizer only. That way you're not worried about, have the guy take your account. Or number two, find a national guy, the Top Lawns, the Scotts, the True Greens. Tell them you're a contractor and tell them that you need a sub for fertilizer, and they'd be happy to give you a quote. And when they come back and they're bidding the property for $275 for a 5-round or 7-round or 9-round application, just say, hey, is that the best you can do? And if they say, well, we can do a little bit better, knock that from $275 down to $225, awesome. Now, whether you want to pad stats in there and add a little bit of, margin on top for you, your time, your services, I always encourage that. If you just want to have it be a direct cost that you just pass on, that you're just kind of linking up that service for the customer, that's fine too. Sometimes I add a little bit extra when I have a subcontractor doing things. Sometimes I don't. For example, Bedell and I have a large HOA that I mow and do the landscaping and all that mess for. We add like a $35 little surcharge there. So he charges me one amount, I add $35 to it, and that gets the number that I quoted the commercial client. So, just to take care of some little administrative costs. We're not getting rich on that, but, just again, covers these little fees when I'm in the office and I got to pay Bedell's invoice, add that service to my invoice, to the, invoice the customer. And I'm in the office for 15 minutes. Hey, 15 minutes at $75 an hour. Somebody's got to pay that 20 minutes, that $20, I should say. So just something to think about, something to consider. As we wrap this up, looking at the contract, and we're going to go into a couple thought process ideas here. Looking at irrigation startup and sprinkler blowout. Same thing with the fertilizer. Maybe you do it, maybe you don't do it. Just make sure you charge for that, of course. But outside of not offering it personally, find a sprinkler company. All American Sprinkler, Rain on Demand, Rain by Design. Rainbird. They always have these interesting, cool, fun names. I see a lot of the irrigation guys have more fun naming their business than some of us lawn care guys. They're a little bit more creative. So shout out to the irrigation guys listening in. But those guys, same thing. Say, hey, I'm a lawn care guy, landscaper, but I really do mostly maintenance. I need a good sprinkler guy. Can you take care of some of my clients? Can you go visit this site? Give me a quote, give me a bid. Maybe a startup is $125, maybe a blowout's $150, and just say, hey, can you give me a flat hourly rate for maintenance costs and repairs? And they might say, yeah, we bill out at $50, $75 an hour, plus parts, plus service. Okay, cool, awesome. So that way you can at least facilitate that for your customers. By the way, if you don't offer it, you're not comfortable offering it, you don't want to do any of that, that's fine. Just tell the office manager, hey, you need 7 services. I only offer 5. It's on you to get your own sprinkler guy. It's on you to get your own fertilizer guy. Obviously, being able to do all of that in-house, and being able to sub that out, that's going to help you secure those accounts than, having, 3 different contractors on the site. Because what if the irrigation guy is just the irrigation division of Perfect Cut, and Perfect Cut comes in and says, hey, we can do it all. You're going to lose it to the big guy, right? And so Corey's like the little guy, big guy, he's one of us, but at the same time, Corey's got a, multi-million-dollar company, right? So a couple little quick pro tips there. As you go through the contract here, as you can see, it says total for all quoted services for the year. It's about, for this example, is $58.90. One other tip, and I've talked about this on invoices, don't do whole numbers. Don't do $450, $125, $1,200 for a mulch job. Add 5s, 2s, and 8s. Okay. Mulch job, 22 yards. Maybe you're at $100 a yard installed. Don't do 2,200. Do 21.95. Do 22.15. It just looks a little bit more like you kind of got your numbers dialed in. Of course, know your costs, know your numbers, but people are like, well, how much for a lawn? $60. Well, why isn't it 62 or 57? It should be a little bit more dialed in. A whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. Quick little pro tip there. On the back, it just has some legalese. I don't think I'm going to get into this too much for us on this part of the episode. But here's what I will say. I want to come on back here just for after a quick break and talk to you just some of those quick tips about who to present this contract to, who to get it into the right hands, when, the hows, and then some extra tips and some advice that I've learned and some things that I could share with you guys that we've learned over the last 10 or 15 years to help you guys get as much commercial work as possible. So let's do this. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, one more time, and then we're going to come right on back.
The show today, Brian, is on fire. Appreciate all of these pro tips. I actually try to think of how I can put all that I learn on the podcast into practice in other areas of business. One of my favorites so far is just realizing how much you in the lawn care industry have invested in quality equipment, training courses like the whole ball of wax that we mentioned at the beginning of the show, your trucks, your trailers, insurance, and so much more. And of course, that's why you can't be cutting lawns for $30 a pop. So the application for me is the next time somebody asks why it costs so much to have me voice a commercial or a podcast intro for them, I now bring up my assortment of $1,000 microphones, studio rental cost, years of learning digital editing and audio enhancement, etc., etc., etc. Tell us what you are learning when you drop a 5-star rating and review at Apple Podcast, and I'll be reading your comments soon right here on Fullerton Unfiltered. Oh, by the way, Brian will be breaking down this deal of all deals with the whole ball of wax. My job at the beginning of the show just sort of to sell the sizzle, but the steak is on the way.
All right, good deal, guys. Well, let's do this. Let's talk about some tips, some advice, and then some unknown tips that I put down here. Ooh, sounds elusive, right? So, number one, here's what I wrote down. I'm just going to come at you guys rapid fire. Number one, when you talk to somebody, ask them what the budget. You're like, are you allowed to ask that? Yeah, absolutely. When you go to a commercial account and, you walk up there and you're like, man, I'm adding this thing up, just kind of soft shoe in my head, just a couple quick notes. This thing's coming in at like 10 to 15, maybe you're coming in at 15 grand. Talk to the HOA person, talk to the office manager, talk to whoever is the decision maker and say, I think we're coming in at around this. Does that sound about fair? Does that sound about what the budget is? I'll get some more numbers dialed in. But is that what you guys are kind of working with from last year? And if they say 15, like we were actually at 10. Well, a couple things here, right? Let's slow down. One, where's their last guy? Why are they bidding it out? Is your cost at 15 what it's actually going to cost? And the last guy was lowballing and doing crummy work, and that's why they want a new person. Very, very typical. When somebody calls in, a couple things here is you don't want to just get all crazy excited because somebody called you up because they have a strip mall, machine shop, or big commercial complex, industrial complex, right? You always got to be a little bit more suspicious. I used to be like just jumping up and down in my chair. We're going to get this account. It's going to change everything. $10, $20, $40,000 accounts. Man, I can't wait to bid this. Now I'm a little bit more cool hand Luke. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll take a look at the site. We'll see what we can do for you with some numbers. And here's why. Number one, sometimes those commercial sites, they have low budgets. Sometimes they're not worth doing. Sometimes the big guys, if you will, they have big crews, big companies, big overhead. They got to keep people moving. And over the years, I've noticed that a lot of these bigger sites have beaten the prices to a pulp. And then also the small medium guy thinks that's where the profit is. So he's going to go bid against all those big sites as well. And so you have this honest race to the bottom, and it's really, really tough. A lot of the big guys will talk about how HOAs, apartment complexes, hospitals, industrial parks, airports, shipping facilities, the prices are not what they used to be in the 90s. Let me rephrase that. The prices have not come up like they should, like the rest of the industry, right? We've heard Paul Jameson talk a lot about that on his show. A $25 cut is not $25 today. A $25 cut in the 80s and 90s should be $42 today, right? So unfortunately, a lot of the prices haven't come up on residential, although I think we're doing a pretty good job getting that, squared away with a lot of you guys listening in. But commercial, again, that's from the horse's mouth. That's the NALP. The NALP said commercial work is at $45 per man hour and residential is at $55 per man hour. That's the national average. So if you're going to bid against one or the other, have a hybrid system, because I like less contacts, less headaches, less phone calls. Having 5 commercial contracts do $100,000 or 100 customers doing $100,000, or you know what I'm saying. Why wouldn't you get 5 contacts over 100 residential or 50 residentials if there were $2,000 per year? It makes sense to get commercials, but I know a company right down the road from me, about 20 minutes away. They only had commercial, and when 08, 09, 10 hit, it wiped them completely out of business. They only had commercial work. They thought that was the cat's meow. Look, we got all this crews, these overheads. This stuff is on autopilot. They probably had razor thin margins as it was. 08, 09 hit, Metro Detroit got leveled like a nuclear bomb went off on the financial side of things. Everybody's losing their job, crazy unemployment. That company, boom, 12 months later, they were completely out of business. I know the friend who owned the company. He's a friend's friend, and it was tough because, it's funny that a year before they said, hey, you got any commercial work you want to take off your hands? We'll load up on it. And so that's why I always have a residential hybrid system where, hey, commercial might go out of business. You got your residential work. Residential people might get laid off. Commercial still chugging along with, stimuluses or bailouts or payouts. So I kind of like having that balanced approach. You guys decide whatever you want to do. But a lot of that commercial work, like I said, not to beat a dead horse, the margins aren't where they used to be. And also, the people who are the office managers, sometimes you have a vice president who takes care of it. Sometimes you have a territory, manager or a facilities manager or a maintenance manager. Again, quick little tip here. We want to talk to the decision maker. Again, sometimes you walk in, you get your little postcard, you get your little flyer, you get your little doopy-doo. You walk in there, hi, I'm Brian's Law Maintenance. I'm from Troop 42. Well, when you walk in there, you're talking to the receptionist and you're, singing the song and dance and, spinning the dream. You're talking after 8 minutes, and we do the best work. We only use hand ground, this, and we use, fresh this, and like they're not even the right person, dude. You're selling the wrong person. So when you walk in, just be, Cool Hand Luke. Whether it's on the phone or you're, in person. Hey, are you the person that's going to be handling this transaction, this account? Are you the decision maker for this? If not, could you put me in touch with the right person? And those folks are more than happy to be honest with you. In an office setting, it's the game of hot potato for responsibility. So if they can schlep it onto somebody else, they're going to in a heartbeat. They don't want to deal with talking to the lawn care guy, the landscape guy. Nobody does, right? So when you walk into an office place, for example, and you do cold calls or walk-ins, that stuff works. Believe it or not, that stuff still works. I had a friend. He wanted to restart his business. He did an about face, Tyler with TCs. He walked like the whole freaking city of Novi, and he earned 44 commercial sites in one winter for his snowplow business. And they went from like $100,000 to over $400,000 in revenue in 12 months. So people that door-to-door is dead know your work ethic is, but the opportunity is still there. When you go to the commercial buildings, like I said, just find the office manager, find the decision maker. And again, maybe you're going to a tire shop, you're pitching one of the sales guys at the counters, trying to drop off your materials. Don't talk to him. Ask for the store manager. When you get the store manager, you know what? He's going to want that first impression and, feel comfortable with you. But again, he's usually not the decision maker. When you look at, retail shops, they might have a maintenance manager that takes care of 20 stores in a certain market. And that's going to be your contact. Okay. Same thing with an HOA. You might be talking to a board member, and that board member is the treasurer, or that board member is, I don't know, there's 6 people on the board, but really you need to talk to the treasurer, and really you need to talk to the president of the board. And when you got a board of 5 people and 5 Karens, you need to find the alpha Karen, the queen bee Karen. You know what I mean? The queen bee Karen is the one that gets the final decision and overrides what everybody else says, even though there's 5 people on the board and they get the vote, with 5 votes. So there's an odd number. So somebody wins. Karen actually accounts for 3 votes, and the other people don't even vote because they don't care. They're just elected to be on the board because nobody else would do it. That's funny, real talk right there. So find the supreme Karen, okay? That's who you got to talk to, not the other people. By the way, if you're doing, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, these are just rapid fire notes I wrote down. When you are trying to bid an HOA, you know what really, really helps? Doing a good job in the actual subdivision. If you have good press, you do great jobs, great work, it's really easy for all the homeowners to recommend you on the group Facebook page and to the board to be able to be considered to get that HOA account. How do I know? That's exactly what happened to us. I've been on this stuff for 10 years, never got it. Then we kind of hit this peak velocity or terminal velocity of, we had like 35 accounts in there on, a subdivision that had 200 homes. So like, I don't know, every 3rd or 4th person had us. And so when the contract came up for bid, they're like, man, the last 2 people, the last guy sucked. The guy before that sucked. We're running out of options. Anybody got a suggestion? And it was like, hello, obvious choice here. Brian's Law Maintenance, 30 plus people, let's say 10 of them all put on the Facebook page. Hey, go with Brian's Law Maintenance. He does ours. I'm sure he can do this place. Awesome. I got referred to the HOA president. By the way, I didn't know who the HOA president was, right? And sometimes you don't. So what do? You be nice to everybody. We talked about this a week or 2 ago on having good customer service. Be nice to everybody. You never know that the lawn that you cut, the neighbor to it has, a 14-year-old kid. He's shooting hoops. You and the guys take 10 seconds. You play a quick game of pig. You just shoot a couple hoops, hang out, just have fun. Just be a normal freaking person in society. Well, what you don't know is that dad is the president of the HOA. And you're just like, hey, hey, Mr. Smith, beautiful lawn today, beautiful day out, I just playing a quick game of ball, and he's like, yeah, for sure. And hey, you guys do good work in this area. Hey, thank you. We appreciate that. If you ever need anything, give us a shout. Well, what you don't know is behind the scenes, he's watching the Facebook thread, blow up. Man, we need a lawn care service provider for the HOA. And he's like, man, is this the same guy? He was just playing ball with my kid for 10 seconds or petting my dog in the backyard. Bedell and I, that's our secret, man. Play with the dogs. Be nice to people. Just be a normal part of society, right? All right, so that's how you can get a little full circle approach there. Ask for last year's contract. You guys would be shocked that people will give it to you. Hey, the last guy sucked. Here's what we had signed off with him. And you're like, you can just go through that contract in 2 seconds and be like, man, no wonder the guy isn't doing good work. You guys are honestly undercutting him. This is a 12 grand account. I mean, dude, I couldn't even touch this for less than 18. They're going to go, what? Seriously? They got 2 options. Go with the guy they're not happy with, or go with the pure person who's shooting them straight. And also, you know what you can really do? Find somewhere to save them a couple bucks. You might double the mulch charge or double the fertilizer charge, but you'd be like, hey, you know what? He was way overcharging for this. I can do that for, 80 cents on the dollar. And they're going to go, oh my God, you can save us some money for sure. So let's take this account from 13 to 18 grand, but really I'm going to save you $200. That's a real one right there. I'm a salesman, dude. I love selling. Let's see what else. I always say, what happened to the last guy? Typical, whether residential or commercial. What happened to the last guy? Ask them, why are they unhappy? Why are you unhappy? What's your biggest priority here? Well, you think they want the lawn maintenance done, but really the person's a gardener at their house, the Supreme Karen, right? The Supreme Ruler Karen. And she's a gardener. She likes flowers. In the last 2 years, the flowers didn't get in until June, almost July. And so she was really unhappy with that. And so what do? You prioritize the flowers, right? Quick little tip there. These are 2 that I asked Bedell. I said, Bedell, you got some quick tips. I love running some ideas through him. I was talking to him the other day about buying a trailer. He said, would you be okay if we were not the lowest bid, but did the best work? That's a really good question. Would you be okay if we were not the lowest bid, but we provided some of the best work and, made sure that you had as few hassles as possible? Because here's why. Great little tip here. It goes full circle to commercial sometimes isn't the most profitable. Not only has the companies, all of us, been, going down that rabbit hole of that downward spiral of pricing because we're all undercutting each other. Stop doing that. Number 2, the office manager, the vice president of the company, the maintenance facility manager, he's trying to save money every year. So sometimes when you get a call, why don't I get like super excited anymore? Because I asked them this question right here. Hey, are you sincerely looking for a new contractor, or are you just accepting 3 bids so you can take it back to your boss to tell them that you shopped out the rate that you had from the last guy who you planned on renewing anyway, but you just need 3 quotes to say that you did a good job and you did your job shopping out that price for the lawn care this year? And people are like, that's like a shocking question as a contractor to ask an office manager. And honestly, I did that. I tried that 2 years ago because I was like, man, I'm tired, because I would always get a call. I was telling this guy, Orlando, this. I would get a call, be so excited about bidding this, storage locker, outdoor storage place, and be like, oh my God, I spent 5 hours on the quote, 5 hours on measurements, 5 hours on this. I'd be 5 to 10 hours into this stupid contract just to realize they weren't even interested. And here I am spending my 5 or 10 hours, which I could have been doing almost anything else, including productive work. And so here's what you just ask. Hey, would it be okay if we weren't the lowest cost provider, but we did some of the best work? Yes. Why? Because now you know that they're actually looking for somebody sincere to clean up the property. Number 2, are you just accepting bids because you have to accept 3 bids per year and shop around the price and you're just planning to renew with your last guy? Or are you guys sincerely looking for a new contractor? Please just shoot me straight. My time's valuable. Yeah, honestly, I am just shopping around. We do. I'm a store manager of a maintenance outdoor facility, storage lockers. I got to get 3 bids per year. It's just what we do, honey. I apologize. I didn't mean to waste your time, but And then here's what they say. But if it does come back and it's not bad, we might entertain it. Wrong. That's never the case. Wrong. Sorry. No. In my experience. I did this exact thing. We have a Simply Storage, I think it is. It's changed like 5 different owners, 5 different management companies, whatever, in the last 7 years. And I, the first time, I was so excited. I submitted this bid for like 10 grand, whatever it was. And I call back and she goes, oh yeah, no, like we went with the last guy from last year. And I'm like, well, why did you call me? I'm like, why are you wasting my time? She goes, oh, well, we were just accepting bids to see if what we got were favorable and, whatever. And actually you came in about what he was doing it for, but you know what? We already have him set up as a vendor. So yeah, sorry, but not sorry. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? So now I just ask those hardball questions. And by the way, I did that with 2 gas stations that are kitty corner in town. I did that with 2 hotels, which are owned by the same people, kitty corner in town. I did that with a commercial company that has one location like here and another one quarter mile down the road. Their other manufacturing shop. So I'm telling you firsthand experience, don't overcommit to your commercial work. Don't overcommit to that bid initially. Ask those tough questions up front. What do they always say? Like, ask good questions up front. It'll churn out better quality on the back end. So have these, before you just run home to your computer and you go get your measuring wheel and you go spend all Saturday morning for 3 hours bidding this quote, ask them these tough questions. I think it'll save you guys a lot of time. I wrote down, are you collecting bids or are you actually interested? So these are some helpful tips. Find the decision maker. Don't underbid the commercial work. Bid it at a premium. Here's what I said to Orlando, because he's down in Orlando, Florida, which is ironic. I told Orlando, he goes, well, I think I can get $100 a week for this lawn. And I'm adding it up. I'm like, I think this is more like $145, $150 cut, bro. And he goes, you think so? I go, let me ask you this. Would you be excited about mowing this in July when it's 100 degrees real feel and you're just sweating, what? Would you rather have it at $150 weekly cut or $100 weekly cut? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'm bidding it now in spring when it's not 95 to 100 degrees and I'm in a feel good moment. I said, bid it as if you were going to do it in the suck time of year. What would you want to do it for? What's your happy place? What's your happy price? And I know that might not be the guru answer and the know your numbers answer, right? But that's called real talk. So for me, I know our numbers to a degree. I know what we need to be at on many different things. But then I always pad stats. I'm like, you know what? I don't want this. It's a headache. There's traffic. It's on the other side of town. I got to go over train tracks. Just whatever your thing is. And then just bid it accordingly, bidding it appropriately. If you get it at a premium. Because I'd rather see you guys do less work and make more money instead of getting work and just being busy. Hopefully, if you're listening to our show, that is not your approach, right? Let's get good quality work. Let's get good quality prices. And let's get clients who appreciate us, right? We did a podcast. Go where you're appreciated, not where you're tolerated. Okay. All right. That's what I got for you guys on this part of the commercial podcast or on this podcast for commercial work. Guys, can we wrap it up with really quick talking about the promotion that Marty, Mr. Producer, just announced for us? Guys, this is something that I have been working the last few weeks behind the scenes, super excited to present to you guys. And I don't want to sound like just crazy fired up and overzealous, but I'm telling you guys sincerely, if you want to grow the most successful company you guys ever have, this promotion that we're doing for a limited time is probably the best promotion. I'm pretty sure it's the best promotion that we have ever done with Launchpreneur Academy ever. You guys heard the announcements earlier. Let me just reiterate it. If you buy the whole ball of wax now, today's when we started the promotion, through the next few weeks as we have this limited run, if you buy the whole ball of wax for $9.99, by the way, there's 38 freaking resources in there. So if you're just starting in business, you're in your first 2-3 years in business, this thing is for you for sure. 38 resources in there. I added it up because I didn't know. I sincerely didn't know. I was like, how much stuff do we have on this thing by now? We've been just working it behind the scenes to help you guys grow a more successful company with these resources and training programs. So we added it up. It was like $2,520 in training programs and resources, postcards, commercial contracts, rate adjustment letters, training programs on how to do different services, lawns, snow, aerations, all of that mess. The postcards, the EDDMs, the postcard designs, door hanger designs, so much more to list. It's 38 resources at $2,520. We already sell the whole ball of wax for $9.99. Okay, that's like a 50+% off deal as it is. With lifetime updates, lifetime access. We don't do an annual renewal for, $2.99. We don't do any of that mess. Lifetime access, lifetime updates, and anything we release in the future, you also get access to. And I know I got 1 or 2 more programs coming through spring, which is going to be really exciting. And that doesn't count the resources we drop, by fall, because you guys know me, I'm always scheming to help you guys grow with better resources. Well, check this out. Mr. Producer already talked about it, but if you buy the whole ball of wax now, through the next few weeks, limited run promotion, might go through the end of March, we're figuring this out. You're also going to get full access to everything at the Hardscape Academy, including the how to install paver patios and how to install retaining walls training programs, and the $49 webinar that we did on goal setting, vision casting, and how to line your business up for a successful year that we did with the almonds, which was like a 2-hour webinar. And everybody who's on it said it was amazing. Okay. That's over $249 in extra value that we're adding when you buy the whole ball of wax. Once you purchase the whole ball of wax, I'm going to share your contact info with the almonds. We're going to get you enrolled into the Hardscape Academy. That is a $249 freaking value, absolutely free for the one low price of $9.99 on the whole ball of wax. By the way, but wait, there's more. And guys, I'm not a sales guy on this stuff. I genuinely want to get these products into your hand. Here's the other thing that we're going to do. I'm going to throw some skin in the game too. I'm going to also offer an additional 1-hour coaching call in the whole ball of wax. You already get one anyway, but we're going to add a second one to the whole ball of wax because I'm noticing a lot of you guys purchase the coaching calls, or a lot of you guys purchase the whole ball of wax. We usually do that call the first 2, 3, 4 weeks after you get that and you get access to it. So many, I mean, we've done, I think, a little over 200 coaching calls in the last year, helping people get unstuck, get out of the mud, get out of their own headspace. You know, if you got specific questions, that's what the coaching calls are designed for. Well, I'm noticing usually 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later, you guys got more questions. You're elevated. You're trying to go to the next level. Maybe you're getting out of the lawn season, going into snow or the off season. You want to regroup. You want to learn more about snow. So you know what I'm thinking? Let's do another coaching call. So that's a currently $179. That might go up. $179 value that we're also adding to this whole promotion. So you get 1 year to redeem that second call because we don't want this thing to go out forever. But whole ball of wax, 38 resources, including a coaching call. You get the Hardscape Academy, $249 of value. How to install paver patios, how to install retaining walls, and the $49 webinar about goal setting and vision casting, and one additional coaching call for 1 hour with yours truly that you can use within a year. You don't have to use it immediately. You got a whole year to redeem the second call. We added it up. It's almost $3,000 of value that you're getting for $9.99. Okay. Sincerely, we appreciate you guys supporting us. We appreciate you guys investing in the Launchpreneur Academy. I will go tit for tat, toe to toe about anybody else who's the gurus out there trying to provide resources for you guys for 10 times as much cost. I'll go tit for tat with my content versus their content any day because I know what we're doing is working. We got 15 years of experience, proven results. We got 1,000 people that have purchased that contract, secured 7 figures plus, I guarantee you, in revenue out there for your guys' business. The rate adjustment letters, I'm sure if the word got out that this little, squirrely lawn care YouTube guy is the person that is, responsible for having tens of thousands of people across the countries have their rate increase for their lawn service, I'm sure people would love to find me. But every one of you guys adding $2, $4, $6 to your prices going up, in recuperating some of those overhead costs and making more profit, going up with the rising costs. That's what it's all about. You get all this for $9.99. The promotion is going to be a sincere limited run. This is not going to go on forever. You guys hear this stuff all the time, but we will not have another promotion this good ever. I just don't know what else to do to be able to provide this much value for this one-time offer. Everything from Launchpreneur Academy, including lifetime updates and lifetime access. Everything on the Hardscape Academy, the 2 resources that those guys have, plus the $49 webinar, incredible. And then an additional coaching call that you get up to 1 year to redeem for another $179 value. Absolutely incredible. So guys, thank you for investing into us. Thank you for investing into Launchpreneur Academy. We appreciate the business. We appreciate you guys supporting that. That has been the breadcrumb website that I'm trying to leave to the Brian Fullerton, who was 20 years old, scared out of his mind. How am I going to get this lawn care business started? Throw mud up against the wall, see what sticks for a decade until we found you guys, this community. We found YouTube. You guys have helped me grow. I've helped you guys grow. We're winning together, and that's what it's all about. So, guys, I'm super fired up. Hopefully this podcast with all the commercial contract secrets, tips, and advice also helps you guys with going out there and securing some commercial work. You guys always know that I'm over here pulling for you guys. I'm over here praying for you guys, and I hope you guys have the best season ever.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.